The Bitcoin halving event has officially occurred. So with all eyes on Bitcoin, no one is noticing the pivotal position that altcoins are in right now. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the various stages of the bull run cycle and its impacts on altcoins, as well as why I think right now is the best time to be capitalizing on altcoin growth opportunities. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jess, and as the channel name suggests, it's all about crypto, trading, and technical analysis. So if you're all about that or you'd love to learn, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So let's start off by talking about the Bitcoin halving event. So it's the most widely anticipated event in cryptocurrency that happens every couple of years. It generally, for most people, marks the start of the bull run. So it's some really interesting stuff, and obviously everyone is paying a lot of attention to it. But that first couple of months after the halving, we don't really see all that much growth in the price action of Bitcoin. We see a massive amount of accumulation just before the halving, the first couple of months before the halving, in anticipation for the event. But those first couple of months after the event itself, we don't actually see all that much growth. It's not until maybe two or 3 months after that we start to see our test of those prior all-time highs and the development of that new all-time high. So if we take a look at 2020, for example, from that month of the halving, that first 2 months, we only had about 27% growth. That third month was a red one, 19% growth in total of the first 2-3 months. Same thing in 2016, it was only about, in the first 2 months, about 22 to 30% growth in the 3-month period. So not all that much. And so, it's not that interesting. We're just going sideways for a little bit, and that is fine. But what most people don't pay attention to is altcoins immediately after the halving event. If we take a look at Bitcoin dominance immediately after the halving, every single time we have a massive drop in Bitcoin dominance. As you guys know, Bitcoin dominance is a great indicator for market confidence. And when people are confident in the cryptocurrency market, they're investing in other things besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, in small cap coins. And that's when we start to see those really big rallies for those lower cap coins. So over here is the Bitcoin halving event for 2020 in May, this dotted black line. And we can see immediately after the month of the halving, we have a massive drop in Bitcoin dominance. So when Bitcoin dominance drops, we know that altcoins also go up, because it means that, Bitcoin, the amount in Bitcoin is not the dominant. It's not the dominant coin being held right now. So that means that money is going into other coins. If we take a look at total cryptocurrency market cap of altcoins, immediately after that first 2 months, immediately after the halving event, we have altcoins rallying about 60% or 55%. That's in the first 2 months. Whereas we know Bitcoin only went up about 30%, 25%, right? So altcoins are already starting to do a lot better than Bitcoin immediately after the halving event. And if we extend our analysis a little bit further, we can actually see that the various stages of the Bitcoin bull run cycle have a very clear relationship with altcoins and the parabolic phases of altcoins. So going back to BLX here, let's mark out 3 main phases of the bull run cycle, right? So obviously we've got the top, but we've got the halving event, right? So that kind of is a date range that kind of marks the start of the bull run. Then we have the start of our parabolic phase, which begins after we break above and get a monthly candle close above the prior key resistance range, so that dead cat bounce level that I've talked about a couple of times in my old videos. So that is the start of the parabolic phase in the bull run cycle. And then we have the moment where we test our prior all-time high and then reach that new one. So those are the various stages. Let's go with the 3 main stages of the bull run cycle. So each of these stages have a very clear relationship with Bitcoin dominance and the way that altcoins behave. So if we take a look here, we know that on the halving event, we know that Bitcoin dominance tends to drop. And because of that, we see altcoins rally, right? We see them do, 60% in comparison to Bitcoin's 30%. And then we take a look at the Bitcoin parabolic phase. That is when we start to see a pivot in Bitcoin dominance. So the moment that Bitcoin tends to do this rally after breaking above a key range of resistance, that dead cat bounce level. So over here it was at $48,000. I'll talk about the significance and the difference of this current cycle in a moment, but let's just talk about traditionally what happens. So we have our parabolic phase, and when that happens, Bitcoin tends to do, the more exaggerated rallies. So that's the moment when we start to test our prior all-time high. So within that 2-month period over here, we had it's like 85% growth in the price of Bitcoin. So much more impressive growth compared to the first couple of months after the halving, right? And when we see that, generally within this phase, we see Bitcoin dominance pivot. And this is when altcoins start to lose a little bit of their steam. We see some early tops for altcoins. They start to slow down just a little bit while Bitcoin rallies. And then we see our next phase. So in this moment where we test our prior all-time high, that is when we peak in Bitcoin dominance, right? So after that, Bitcoin dominance continues to drop until we enter the bear market. And then that's when we kind of just consolidate sideways a little bit, right? So over here, that peak of Bitcoin dominance, when we test our prior all-time high over here, that is when we start to see altcoins have their all-time high rallies. That is when we start to see that insane parabolic behavior of altcoins. We go over a look at total cryptocurrency market cap in 2020, the moment we tested that the Bitcoin all-time high for 2020. We can see that this is when altcoins and the total market cap of altcoins really exploded upwards. Same with Bitcoin, but we know that it's exploding more than Bitcoin because that Bitcoin dominance percentage is dropping the entire way through. So that is a really important piece of information because we know it's that prior all-time high moment that corresponds to that exponential drop in Bitcoin dominance. And if we take a look at where we are right now in our current cycle, this halving event has been a little bit strange, or this cycle has been a little bit strange because we've done a couple things early, right? As we know, usually we don't break above that dead cat bounce range of resistance until after the halving event, but we broke above that all the way back in February. So we did that a little bit early. You know, it was a pretty interesting cycle, this one. Bitcoin hasn't been so widely adopted. Cryptocurrency in general hasn't been so widely adopted ever before. And so we're going to be breaching above key levels before the halving event happens. But regardless, what we're doing right now is we're testing that prior all-time high. That is the current phase of the cycle that we're currently in. And so the halving event has triggered that immediate drop in Bitcoin dominance. We can see it already. We're approaching this key range of resistance, or this key pivot range in Bitcoin dominance at 58%. While we have the halving event and we're testing our all-time high. So all of that suggests that Bitcoin dominance is about to really drop. And we know that when Bitcoin dominance is dropping while we're testing all-time high, we start to get that very parabolic behavior for altcoins. Total cryptocurrency market cap absolutely shot up last time. So let's take a look at where total cryptocurrency market cap is right now as well. If we take a look, we recently had a massive flush out of the altcoin market. So we fell below this key threshold level at 606 billion. We saw a lot of altcoins really bleed and drop 50% in this massive drop over here. A lot of them lost some very key high time frame structures and support levels, but we are also recovering. So this bounce from $60,000 should take us back up to those prior highs of altcoin market cap around 1 trillion. And we should be seeing some new all-time highs. So the significance of this round's bull run cycle is that we've essentially just completely surged past those first two phases, right? So that halving event, we've already done that. We've just had that a couple days ago. And then that Bitcoin parabolic phase where we start to see some early tops in altcoins. We take a look at altcoin market cap again. Over here, that parabolic phase where we push past that key range of resistance is when we start to see altcoins kind of slow down a little bit, go back a little bit, and drop a fair bit as well. So we've pushed past all of that. That we're already in this next phase of the cycle where we're testing the prior all-time high. And we know that right after that, we get that explosive behavior. So really, we are in the early stages for what could be some of the most parabolic times or seasons for altcoins right now. We're in those very early stages. If we take a look at where we're currently sitting as well in terms of altcoin market cap, we are testing this very key threshold range of support as well. So 606 billion to 636 billion is a very key threshold for altcoins or altcoin market cap. So over here, this range is when we start to see altcoins retest very key yearly levels of support and high time frame structures. So over here in this really big flush out, we saw a lot of altcoins really bleed, drop maybe 50% and lose those yearly structures and those high time frame supports. But the ones that managed to keep that and to recover very quickly, I think those altcoins in particular have a very, very strong likelihood of doing very, very well this season. Alrighty, so that's everything I have to say about the current climate for altcoins. It's definitely looking really interesting right now, and I'm very curious to see how all of it plays out over the next couple of months to year. But moving on, let's talk about the current price action of of Bitcoin and what to look out for in terms of a move upwards for Bitcoin right now. So we're still in the range of pain for Bitcoin. So that range from $60,000 to $72,600 is still traveling within that range. And we have a key downtrending resistance that we're looking for as well now. So on the price action, we've broken out from that short time frame structure. So we should be traveling to the top of this range sometime soon. If we go into a shorter time frame, you guys can draw in that downtrend. We can see that we've broken it. We tested the base of resistance here at $60,000. We've had a deviation below as well. So that increased volatility should be able to push us past the midline and into these upper ranges and above over here. But moving also into momentum, we can see that on the high time frames, on the daily chart here, we have a key downtrending resistance for momentum. So we're looking for a break of that before we see any sort of macro changes in the price action in terms of a break above $72.6 thousand. So we want to fully shift that momentum narrative to the upside and develop a nice strong uptrend over here. In order to see that breakout. On the very short time frame though, we are consolidating in a bullish pattern. So we have got on the hourly chart, we've got a bullish flag pattern. So this descending channel entered into after a upwards move. So with that descending channel, we are currently on our third retest of that channel. So I'm looking for a break sometime after this third retest, potentially after a test of this midline over here. Right, so after that, I would be looking for a break upwards. In terms of upwards trajectory on the short time frame, we have obviously the midline over here, $66.7 thousand. We've got a key level of volume right above that at $67,000. If we zoom out a little bit onto the 6-hour time frame as well, we can see our POC level. So that POC level, that POC level is probably going to be a pretty key range of resistance as well. If it'll come up. Okay, over here, so $69,000, not surprised. That will be a pretty strong level of resistance as well. So those are the first couple of areas to look out for in terms of this upwards breakout. We have a measured move as well of pennant. Let's go, not the pennant, of the bullish flag. So the measured move doesn't take us all that far because it is such a short time frame pattern. But that takes us to about $65,000. So that's above a key level of macro support as well. So on the weekly chart, 65.5 is a key level of support. So that's good that we'll be breaking back into that in time, hopefully in time for the weekly candle close. That would be very bullish. But other than that, not too much happening, to be honest. I do expect us to break out of the RSI downtrend sometime soon because, as you guys know, the longer we develop that downtrend, the lower and lower it's going to go until we approach that oversold territory. And when we get there, it's very likely that we end up getting a breakout. So when that happens, we'll get a nice strong momentum shift. But as long as we maintain above this key level of support before the breakout, so as long as we stay above $60,000 here, the breakout should take us out and above 72.6. Alrighty guys, I think I'm going to call the analysis there before my voice completely dies for the rest of the day. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel down below. If you want to see more of my content, I do have a free Telegram channel where you guys can get daily Bitcoin updates as well as crypto and economic news. If you're interested in my VIP channel, you can check out more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trade setups, including entry points, stop losses and targets, as well as trade justifications and a risk management and trading journal. If you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to Bitget and BingX to get 15% off your trading fees. I hope you guys have a really great week and I will see you next time. Bye!